Welcome to the very first episode of the Best Kept Secrets in Northwest PA, the series where we uncover smart workforce solutions that deserve a bigger spotlight. I'm your host, Vera, with PA CareerLink Erie County and Oil Region. Today's big secret is apprenticeships, one of the most practical, powerful, and often misunderstood ways for employers to build talent, strengthen retention right here in our region. This episode is built to be practical, conversational, and easy to take action on. Instead of a formal presentation, we're having a real discussion with partners working in the space so you can hear what apprenticeship looks like in practice and why it matters now. Here's the truth. Apprenticeships is not just an old model or a niche option. It's a modern workforce strategy that can help your business develop talent, close skills gap, and create stronger long-term pipelines. To start us off from the partner and employer engagement side, I'm joined by Lisa Conturo, who brings a valuable perspective on how apprenticeship conversations are showing up in the business community. Lisa, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Vera, so much for inviting me. Like she said, I'm Lisa Conturo. I work for the German American Chamber of Commerce, or short GACC, and we function as an apprenticeship sponsor. We have 6 registered apprenticeship programs in the state of PA, and we support our employers in the region all the way up to Erie, in the Pittsburgh area, and northern Pennsylvania.
Wonderful. And from our employer perspective, we have Nate McAfee from Veka. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you very much, Vera. So I'm Nate McAfee. I am representing Veka. We're located in Farm Bell, Pennsylvania, so we are a vinyl extrusion manufacturing company that makes the linear footage for the outside of your windows that you would see, the plastic parts. And then we sell those parts to companies that will actually fabricate it to put it inside your house. So I'm here representing how the apprenticeship has benefited our company significantly and answer a couple of the questions.
Absolutely. Thank you again. And we have Nicole Zaun here today with us. Nicole, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, Vera. I'm excited to be here. My name is Nicole Zaun, Director of Apprenticeships and Customized Training at Northern Pennsylvania Regional College, or NPRC. At NPRC, we support registered apprenticeship sponsors, such as GACC, to deliver the related technical instruction. And one of the apprenticeships that we currently are involved in with GACC is a mechatronics apprenticeship.
Wow. From your guys' perspective, what is apprenticeship? Let's kind of dive into what it is. Some of our viewers may not know. How would you describe apprenticeship?
Well, an apprenticeship is really, the Germans call it the dual education or dual training. So you have on-the-job training at Veka, for example, where you learn with the equipment that the company has, the company cultures and values, but you get classroom training from NPRC, for example, at the same time. So it's
simultaneous.
Simultaneously. So it's really actionable. What you learn in the classroom, you apply in real life simultaneously.
Absolutely. I think that speeds up the skill development for the organization, promoting within and opening up those entry-level positions for the community. And we want to know from the education perspective, what would you say defines apprenticeship?
So I would say apprenticeships are one of the most practical ways employers can build the workforce they actually need. So just like what Lisa was saying, it's intentional. So you're learning on the job, but you're also getting that classroom instruction. So we're providing that RTI or related technical instruction in a safe environment. Again, I can't say it enough, but that why and how, so that they fully understand and have that deeper understanding, so that it offers long-term success and builds stronger teams.
Absolutely. Knowing the why is so important. Again, I think that's going to be something that we mention a lot for employees getting into this and employers going into apprenticeship world. Understanding the why and delivering that why to your apprentices is very important and helps them be more encouraged and motivated to learn in your organization. To dive right in, I want to kind of talk about why is apprenticeship especially valuable in today's workforce environment. Lisa, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned before there is this like threatening skill gap, which I think a lot of employers can relate to. You have a senior workforce generation that is about to retire in the next 5 to 10 years. And yeah, you have positions to fill and maybe not that many people coming after that. So apprenticeships are a great way to build that talent pipeline and really tailor it to your needs. So really train the right skills, the skills that you need at your company and the competencies and your equipment, with your company culture and so on. And with that retiring workforce generation, there's also a lot of knowledge, expertise, skills leaving with them. So apprenticeship is a great way and strategy to train those skills to the younger generation and really keep it in the company. So they don't have to start from scratch. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. And it really gives you a competitive advantage compared to other companies who don't have apprenticeship programs.
Absolutely. Keeping that skill within in-house is so important for growing your organization overall. And I also wanted to hear from Nicole. Why would you say apprenticeships are especially valuable in today's workforce?
Well, I'll piggyback off of what Lisa said. As she said, with the skill gaps and the retirement increasing, being able to train your own talent pipeline is essential right now in our workforce. And what we do as an educational perspective, we help translate everyday job tasks into teachable skills. A lot of companies don't have the capacity or the time to build out that curriculum, so that's where a strong RTI provider comes in.
Absolutely. Sometimes having a strong education backup is really important for an organization to really upskill their workforce. And to get into the employer side, Nate, I'm sure other employers watching this are kind of curious and want to know what workforce challenge led your organization to explore apprenticeships and what made it worth it?
So with the retention being a very large issue that we want to solve, apprenticeships is a very good way to stay ahead of that, as well as the training. So a lot of our skills at Veka are very customized and they're very unique. So even the people who have those skills might not have all the knowledge on how the Veka process works. So we want to get them the training, the hands-on training inside the facility, and we want to develop their passion as well. So then we'll get the schools like CCAC or the Workforce Development Boards or the GACC program to really get on board, get that training, and finalize our apprentices into journey people.
Yeah. I mean, that's really impressive, honestly. And, can you tell me a little bit about the benefits involved with apprenticeship? With the employers watching us, we want to talk about what to expect when they implement such a model in their organization.
Yeah, so we have seen really high retention rates amongst our apprentices, internal and external apprenticeships that we have at Veka. We have a strong workforce satisfaction, so they really get to take pride in their work. They really get to enjoy what they do, and they create a passion for their work. And long-term values. So they go on to, the journey people go on to train others. They lead projects. They support safety along their departments with the new hires, with the new apprentices coming in. And return in investment, something really hard to show on paper right away, but it becomes clear the way that they work, the way they come up with ideas, get involved.
What buy-in did you get into it?
So the buy-in that we get from our people at our actual company at Veka. So for same advice for employers getting started. So you want to partner with organizations, get everybody else involved. There's people out there who can really help and benefit, and it's a lot of weight on you as a company to get started with, and you want to really get the buy-in, the leadership buy-in. So from your CEO, from your managers, from your different departments, if you don't have their buy-in, it's going to work really difficult. Even if you have your head person, your CEO's buy-in, if you don't have the managers and the departments and they're kind of working against you, not seeing the purpose of apprenticeships, you're really going to not work. So you want to have a good plan going into play.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads me right into my next question. So, Nicole, what is some of the support you've seen with apprenticeship? And actually, I want to hear also from the sponsors what support you offer as well for the apprenticeship model. just so that our employers who are watching and the people who are watching can kind of see where they can actually dip into to help build their own model.
So from an RTI or an educational perspective, we have the privilege of supporting both the employer and the apprentice throughout the apprenticeship journey. For the employers, our role is to make the training components more manageable. Companies don't always have the capacity or the time to build out curriculum, so that's where a strong RTI partner comes into play. For the apprentice, the support is more hands-on. During the classroom and technical instruction, our instructors explain, I think I already mentioned this, but I'll say it again because I can't say it enough, explain the why behind the work and how the systems connect, which provides a deeper understanding.
Absolutely. What about you, Lisa? What is your support that you can offer?
As Nate mentioned before, when you're an employer, it's a pretty heavy lift to get a program registered with the Department of Labor and Industry. But we as apprenticeship sponsor, we really take on that heavy lift. We fill out the paperwork, we show up in front of council and explain to them why this program makes sense and why it fills a need in the industry. And as an employer, you can just join our cohort. With that, you literally have to fill out 2 pages of paperwork, and we orchestrate the whole support system around you. So we connect our apprentices and our employers with NPRC and our other colleges. We help recruit new talent, let it be from high school, CTCs in the surrounding area. And really make sure that the whole program is compliant with the guidelines. We offer train-the-trainer workshops where new trainers can learn and grow into their new role and support their apprentices accordingly.
That's wonderful. And for viewers who are not familiar with apprenticeship, can we just talk about when you're first building an apprenticeship, what really needs to be taken in account of? Like, what would you say are the different ways we can model the apprenticeship program for an organization? And are there models already existing?
Well, we wanted to make sure that our programs really have an impact on the industry. So actually, companies came to us with the need for structured training. And we're lucky that we're tied to the German chamber in Germany that facilitates the apprenticeship programs in Germany. So we have a very broad catalog of occupations that we can pick and choose from. But really listening to the Vekas out there and our other companies, like what is it you need? What skills? And we can kind of see what occupation would fit best to fill this gap. And we're lucky enough that we can base our programs off the curriculum that Germany came up with, and then go to NPRC and be like, this is the rough outline. How can we make it work here in our region? Because of course there's differences. It doesn't need to be 100% matched to what Germany does. What makes sense here in the northwestern region of Pennsylvania? And same with the work processes. It came with a long list of skills and competencies, but not each and every single one of these competencies might fit for Veka. There might be even something missing. So we really sit down with the employer and hash out what those list of competencies could look like. When you go in front of council, you need the support of at least 2 employers to show there is an actual need. We're not just sitting in our office and making up occupations and then present in front of the council. It's
the apprenticeship training.
Yeah, the Apprenticeship and Training Council, which is I'm missing the word right now. It's like elected or assigned by the governor.
Oh,
the formal name?
Appointed, I think?
Yeah, they're appointed.
The appointed apprenticeship training.
Yeah. So the Apprenticeship and Training Council in Pennsylvania is appointed by the governor, and it's just experts in workforce development and training, and they really review the paperwork that we put in and really put a very, very sharp lens on if those skills make sense, whether the apprentice is safe, and we know what we're doing and don't put anybody at risk.
From the education perspective, what was apprenticeship like first learning about it? And how did you guys get into it?
Great question, Vera. Actually, I will say that we got into the related technical instruction piece by partnering with GACC, currently with mechatronics. That's actually how we first started within the apprenticeship world.
Wow.
And from there, we meet with the employer, we meet with GACC so that we can align the curriculum and the teachable skills to match the industry standards as well as the apprenticeship plan that was submitted to the training council.
Absolutely. It's actually so important to have a sponsor, but you can also be the education provider and sponsor, as well as you can also look at from the perspective of being the employer and sponsor, or having just a sponsor like GACC provide that apprenticeship support. So to go right in, Nate, I wanted to ask, is there a success story that you've recently experienced with the apprenticeship world, and kind of just share what that was like?
Yeah, so there's many success stories. So Veka has had apprenticeship programs since 1991. We started with the tool and die making program, again, because that was a very important skill aspect that we needed to learn. So over all those years, we've had many people grow into positions, but one of the success stories I really like to see, and it's one that kind of shows a little quick, is how many of the how many of the apprentices develop those soft skills, that emotional intelligence, and especially with their apprentices coming straight out of high school and with Veka being their first job. So at Veka, we focus not only on the technical side of the trade, but we also focus on the personal skills and how an employee can grow. An early win is definitely seeing that apprentice build confidence. They stay calm under pressure and they communicate more thoughtfully with their coworkers, their trainers, and their managers. That really gives them the soft skills to develop, communicate, build bridges, not just closing doors as they go through that work process. They're closing doors. We don't want them to close doors. We want them to build bridges and meet their coworkers and build that internal networking.
Absolutely. To kind of develop those unexpected skills that you didn't know you needed for life, especially as well. And, you had mentioned that, well, I think Lisa did, that you were an apprentice yourself. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah.
How was that experience? I mean, from an apprentice perspective, that must have been awesome.
Yeah, so it was really great. So the apprentice program, I really wasn't sure what it was. So I joined the apprentice program 6 years after starting actually at Veka. So I've done a lot at Veka, but I ended up actually moving down to Texas and worked there for a little over a year as a lead tech. Whenever I moved back up, I was supervising, and I had a son at the time, so they changed the schedule, and I ended up going out to our OLP department, so where we made fence and deck, which is now in Morganton, North Carolina. So with that going, I kind of didn't want to just stay there. I wanted to learn more. I liked knowing the why, so I found out through Thomas Vandebunt, the training manager, about apprenticeships. So I joined the polymer process plastic extrusion. So I ended up applying and joining the polymer process tech apprenticeship, and I was able to do that. It was about a 3-year program, and I was able to go in the different departments and cross off all those checks and those hours and get my competency checklist done and really build those bridges and network. And that really...
And you grew yourself in the company, too.
Yeah, I mean,
right now, you are the apprenticeship coordinator, correct, for Veka?
Yeah, so I'm the training coordinator. I do a lot with the internal and external apprenticeship programs. It's very large, so I'm not the only one. Thomas does a lot as well. But I would have never, 5 years ago, I would have never realized I would have been doing anything with training. I thought I would just be operating and getting involved on the floor, but now I get involved on the floor and a lot on the other side of the wall as well.
That's wonderful. That's very valuable to have. And it's kind of cool that you get to see not only your experience, but also know what your apprentices need when you're looking over their shoulder in their learning pathway. And
can I add that Nate is a great example of those emotional skills that we just talked about? So Nate was not just a great support or is a great support for the apprentices right now going into Veka, but during the time as an apprentice, he was kind of like the leader of the group that went to college together. So whenever there was a question, they all referred back to Nate. So you could just see that with going through the program, getting those skills, how you really grew your leadership skills and just naturally gravitated towards that role, and just became kind of like the leader of the class. And it was very cute and funny to see how they all gravitated to you and how you naturally just accepted that position and just grew and matured during the program.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Developing those soft skills.
Absolutely. And employers upskilling their current workforce is really important. Investing in your current employees using the apprenticeship model will bring back so much return in retaining those skilled workers. Now, is there a success story when it comes to working with apprenticeship in the education field?
Yes, actually, we just completed a mechatronics cohort. So super exciting. We just had 6 complete their RTI. So that was extremely exciting. And I actually enjoyed listening to Lisa and Nate go back and forth regarding the growth and the skills that you gain throughout an apprenticeship, because that is exactly what we saw in this cohort. Watching the apprentices from entry level of starting their classroom portion and how at the end, what they have gained from the leadership skills to the communication to the confidence. I think that that's one of the biggest things that we see is that confidence that they walk out with. And that to us is just, that's what it's all about. One of the other things that we have seen, which is phenomenal, is the apprentices have gone from their current position that they walk into the apprenticeship as and have moved into a leadership role, which is ultimately what we would like to see, because that means that they are progressing within their career path. So.
Yeah, I think that's very impressive, and you're ultimately changing lives, and that's what we're here for, developing not only your employees but the organization itself. I would say apprenticeship is something to really look into. Now, so you've heard why apprenticeship matters, how it works, what it looks like, and how strong training and partner relationships make it work. From all of your guys' perspective, where do you see the biggest return on hiring, training, and retention?
Well, I can talk about the retention part. So numbers don't lie. 85% of our apprentices, of our graduating apprentices, are still with the companies where they received the training. And have expressed interest on staying with the company long term and even receiving higher degrees, going into higher positions at the company. So that's
that's really nice.
Pretty nice to see.
So the other 2 left is hiring and training. Who wants to take?
So I'll piggyback off of Lisa just because it goes hand in hand. Training is more effective because you're building stronger teams. It's leading to more meaningful careers, and the outcomes are better for everyone involved. And actually, looking back at our other cohort, Lisa mentioned going on to degrees, and NPRC does have a pathway for the industrial tech degree. And so we actually did have multiple apprentices continue on that pathway and are currently earning their degree.
Wow, that's helping progress. Not only you can take what you get for the training part, for the classroom part, and incorporate it into a pathway once you decide to change, which is so cool that it can be transferable. And from our hiring perspective, Nate, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, so for hiring is very important because it is a big investment. It is a big risk essentially too. So you really want to do your due diligence in explaining to that apprentice what's going to happen, what the expectations are, creating kind of a vision for them as well, and really finding their desire and their passion. You want to make sure they have a passion for what they want to do. So you want to keep it to a point kind of fluid where they learn what's all going on, but you want to have it structured enough where they can really learn and dial in what they're going to be doing for the rest of their career if they choose, unless they want to change departments, change careers, or grow into another position. Especially in the beginning, especially if you're trying to start a new apprenticeship program or an apprenticeship program with your company. Especially at the beginning, it's very important because you're going to want to get those buy-ins from your senior leaders, your managers. If you find a apprentice and that apprentice joins and they're kind of iffy or wishy-washy and they quit, you're going to lose a lot of your buy-in. They're not going to trust your apprenticeship program. So especially in the beginning, it's very crucial to get everybody's buy-in, have a solid plan. Don't just create an apprenticeship program so you can tell the community or tell your boss that you have an apprenticeship program. You really need to have their purpose. And you need to have it outlined and you need to have that workflow development plan in the beginning. With that, if you really do your due diligence and you're prepared, your apprenticeship program is going to work and you're going to reap the rewards of it too, long term, short term, and long term. Absolutely.
And before we close, let's do a quick lightning round. And I'd love to hear one myth about apprenticeship you wish more people would let go of, and one reason now is a great time to explore apprenticeship instead. Lisa, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, of course. So one myth I wish more people would let go of is that apprenticeships are low paying and therefore people who are not good enough, not smart enough for college. So kind of like for the lower skills, which is absolutely not true. And I see it with the Nates out there, that a lot of our apprenticeship occupations are highly technical and like deeply rooted in STEM, especially in the manufacturing industry. And the concepts and skills involved in really mastering your job are very complex and demanding. So whenever I see my apprentices doing their work, it is very impressive to see what they can do and how smart and confident they are in what they're doing. And I can also say that because I see their wages, they're not low.
Yeah.
They're making good money. And it is required by the state that throughout the apprenticeship program, there are pay bumps after they reach a certain amount of hours to really recognize the growth that they're going through on the job training, but also on the educational side. And yeah, it should reflect in their wage. And there's another pay bump at the end when they're done with their certification.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think with that wage progression, you're not only learning new skills, developing your employee, but also the apprentice receives financial stability over time, which is so nice to see. Nate, what is one myth and why we should explore it now?
Yeah, I'm excited for this question. So there's a couple answers I could give, but one myth that I hear and that is definitely not true about apprentices is that they're just cheap labor or a short-term solution. That's not the case. It is a long-term investment of people, the skills, the future of the company, the future of that employee, and now would be a great time to explore and invest in an apprenticeship program if you have any skill gaps or if you want to future grow that area or to find those hard to fill roles. So apprenticeships helps you build that pipeline, those critical roles in your company that if you're thinking ahead 5 years, 10 years, that person's going to retire, who's going to take that place. Get those people involved and grow your pipeline so that way you can find your fine tuners, your tool and die makers now instead of down the road. And then instead of just waiting for that person to show up, if you have to go find that person at a job fair, you might be able to, but you're still going to have to teach them that role. So I think that would be a myth that isn't true.
It is from Nicole. What is one myth and why should we explore now?
So one myth we hear is that apprenticeships are only for the trades or for entry-level workers, which is not true. In reality, apprenticeships are a flexible workforce strategy that can work across multiple industries, such as healthcare, IT, professional roles, and can support new hires, incumbent workers, or upskilling.
And why should we explore it now?
Now is a great time to explore because I'm going to say just about the same thing as Nate. With employers facing those real skill gaps, retirement, and rapid changes in technology, apprenticeships intentionally connect learning and work in a way that builds stronger outcomes for everyone involved.
Well, right now is an excellent time to think about apprenticeships because there are a lot of grants out there that can support the employer financially with that. And I haven't mentioned that yet, but we are a nonprofit, so we are able to apply for those grants and then distribute that to our employer to help with paying for wages. And I think the biggest thing is paying for tuition. And the grants are out there right now. We don't know how much longer they will be there, so start now.
Absolutely. Thank you for our guests for sharing their perspective and staying with us as we continue the series and spotlight more workforce solutions. And if today's conversation sparked an idea for your business, your organization, or your own career pathway, don't let it stop here. Reach out, ask questions, and start the conversation. Apprenticeships might be one of the best kept secrets in Northwest PA, but it doesn't have to stay that way. Thanks for joining us for the very first episode of the Best Kept Secrets in Northwest PA. I'm Vera with PA CareerLink, and today's secret was apprenticeships. Thanks again. We'll see you at the next one. PA CareerLink is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary ads and services are available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Carrie Symes, Equal Opportunity Officer, 1174 Elk Street, P.O. Box 831, Franklin, PA 16323. Phone number 814-758-0659 or 711. Programs at PA CareerLink Northwest Region are funded in whole or in part by federal funds. Detailed information can be found at www.nwpajobconnect.org/resources/